Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Jashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Jashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stota Rishata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Shadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. That was a big garland. This is from Radha Madhav? Ah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraya Shushusho Shadadanasya Vyasudeva Kataruchi Syadmaha Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidantyasto Hi Bhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Nasupraya Shurabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tata Rajastamo Bhava Kamaloba Dayasjaye Chetan Eter Navidam Stitam Satpe Prasidhyati Evam Prasana Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangas Sajayate Vidyate Hridaye Grantis Chidante Sarva Samsayaha Vishyanti Chasya Karmani Trista Eva Ma Ishvare Yaswanubhava Makila Shruti Saramekam Madhyatmandipam Atiti Shatam Tamunindam Samsarinam Karunayaha Purana Guyam Tam Vyasasunam Upayami Guru Muninam. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, text number 23, and we will be reading to text number 26. And what is the verse which you have posted there for your recitation? 26 you'll all recite, okay. And the purport, okay. So I will read the 23 to 25 on my own, so do not repeat the verses after me. Advaya hasita kataya surasira sadya gandharva yakshanari king naranaga lokan muktascharanti munucharana bhutanatha Vidyadharadui jagavam bhuvanani kamam. The 9 Yogendras are liberated souls who travel freely to the planets of the demigods, the perfected mystics, the sadhyas, the heavenly musicians, the yakshas, the human beings, and the minor demigods such as the kiranas and the serpents. No mundane force can check their free movement. Exactly as they wish, they can travel as well to the worlds of the sages, the angels, the ghostly followers of Lord Shiva, the Vidyadharas, and the Brahmanas and the cows. Tare kada nime satram upajangmur yachinchaya vidyamhanam rishivir Ajanebe Mahatmanaha. Once in the Ahaj-naba, the former name of the earth, they came upon the sacrificial performance of the great soul Maharaj Nimi, which was being carried out under the direction of elevated sages. Tandrisva Surasankashan Mahabhagavatam Nripa Yajamano Ganeyo Vibra Sarva Evo Patashtire. My dear king, seeing those pure devotees of the Lord who rival the sun in brilliance, everyone present, the performer of the sacrifices, the brahmanas, and even the sacrificial fires, stood in respect. Even the sacrificial fires stood in respect when they entered. Vidyadehasta abhipretya narayana parayana. Pritir samyujayam chakre asanastan yadarta vidyadehastan abhipretya narayana parayanan Prita sambhujayam chakre asanastanyadharhata videhastana bipretya narayana parayanan Prita sambhujayam chakre asanastanyadharhata. Videha Nimi Maharaj Tan them Abhipretya recognizing Narayana Parayanan as devotees whose only goal was Narayan. Prita satisfied Sambhujayam Chakre he fully worshipped them. Asanastan who had been seated. Yatarhata as they deserved. Translation and purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. King Videha Nimi understood that the 9 sages were exalted devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, overjoyed at their auspicious arrival, he offered them suitable sitting places and worshipped them in a proper way, just as one would worship the Supreme Personality of God. Purport. The word yathartha is significant here. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti, the word yathartha means yathochitam, or according to the proper etiquette. It is clearly mentioned here that the Navayogendras are Narayana Parayana, exalted devotees of the Supreme Lord Narayana, or Krishna. Therefore, the word yathartha indicates that the king worshipped the 9 sages according to the standard Vaishnava etiquette. The etiquette for worshipping exalted Vaishnavas is expressed by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur with the words Sakshat Darit Vena Samasta Shastre. An exalted Vaishnava, being totally surrendered to the will of the Supreme Lord, is taken to be a transparent medium for the Lord's will. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is stated that even by a moment's association with the pure devotees of the Lord, one can achieve all perfection in life. Therefore, as indicated by the word pritaha, King Nimi was overjoyed by the auspicious arrival of the sages. And therefore he worshipped them just as one would worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although impersonalist philosophers claim that every living entity is equal to God, they callously step over the heads of their so-called spiritual masters and freely speculate on the nature of the Absolute, giving their own whimsical opinions in defiance of the impersonal whims of their so-called gurus. In other words, although Mayavadi impersonalists claim that everyone is God, they ultimately show an offensive mentality towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead in rejecting the reality of His eternal form and pastimes. Thus, they unwittingly belittle the eternal position of all living entities by denying their eternal personality and activities in the kingdom of God. The impersonalists, the impersonalists, through their mental concoctions, try to minimize the position of the Supreme Personality of God in the living entities who are part and parcel of Him, reducing them theoretically to a formless, nameless light, which by their concoction they claim to be the Absolute God. The Vaishnavas, however, welcome the Supreme Personality of God and easily understand that the unlimited Supreme Personality has nothing to do with the conditioned, limited, mundane personalities we find in the material world. The impersonalists arrogantly assume that there cannot be any transcendental or unlimited personality beyond our present experience. But the Vaishnavas intelligently understand that there are many wonderful things far beyond our limited experience. Therefore, they accept the words of Krishna, who states in Bhagavad Gita, Yomam eva asamhudho jananti purushottamaha sasarvavit bhajante mam sarvabhavhena bharataha. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is a knower of everything, and he therefore engages himself in full devotional service, O son of Bharata. In this connection, Srila Prabhupada states, there are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities in the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Krishna as the Supreme Personality, Supreme Person, is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on speculating about the Absolute Truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this, according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas, and no one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. Therefore, exalted devotees such as the 9 Yogendras always accept the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as expressed here by the word Narayana Parayana. King Nimi was a Vaishnava, and therefore he worshipped the great sages with the same respect with which he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as shown by the word Yathartha. Although impersonalists falsely claim that every living entity is equal to God, they cannot properly respect any living being because of their original offense at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality. Their so-called worship, even of their own gurus, is ultimately self-serving and opportunistic. When an impersonalist imagines that he has become God, he has no further need for his so-called gurus. The Vaishnava, however, because he accepts the supremacy of the eternal personality of Godhead, is ready and willing to offer eternal respect to all living entities, especially to those most fortunate beings who have achieved the shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. A Vaishnava's worship of the Lord's representative is not self-serving or opportunistic, but is an expression of eternal love for the Lord and his representatives, as indicated here by the word pritaha. Therefore it is clear from this verse that not only the 9 exalted sons of Rishabha, but also King Nimi himself were all great devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in defiance of the artificial, limited concept of impersonalism. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakvaya Chakshurun Minitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svambarantikam Nama Shresham Manu Api Sachiputram Atrasvarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Uruparim Maturim Gosvaratum Radha Kundam Girivadam Maho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Patiti Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajantam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabhadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadesha Tarine Namo Mahavadandaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratase Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sade Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarum Bistya Kripa Sindhura Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Durga me pate menantasa Sakalat Padagatir Mahur Swakripa Yasti Danena Santa Sanvavalambanam Ye Mahanta Kilaham Sabhuta Jagat Praviti Karamartanagata Tate Hujistani Sevanome Kartam Vishudam Rachanam Pravinam. It is my great honor and privilege to be back with all of you here in Kanpur. And I'm not here for a very long period of time, but I'm hoping that while I'm here I will be able to spend some time with most of you. It's possible. And my deep gratitude to His Grace, Prem Harinam Prabhu, for always keeping the door open for me and always making me feel extremely welcome to come visit Kanpur at any time, no matter how spontaneous it may be. This trip was not originally planned, and by Krishna's arrangement and by the kindness of Prem Harinam Prabhu, I've been able to come here and get all of your association again. Today's verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam is describing the transcendental nature between the relationship between the guru and the disciple. This relationship is the foundation of our life in Krishna consciousness. There is some who think that by studying the Vedas, by hearing many lectures, taking Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, they can become qualified to serve Krishna. But as the Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Mahakripa Kona Karme Bhakti Nai Krishna Bhakti Duriraho Samsara Nahaksai, that unless one receives the mercy of a Vaishnav Guru, then one may be practicing devotional service, but it is actually not devotional service at all. And furthermore, those so-called activities of devotion will not even free one from this material world. When Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur would travel, he would come across this personality, and when he would meet under whose authority of Krishna. And if they say, my relationship with Krishna is direct, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati would say that person is an imposter. Our connection with Krishna is based on our connection with the spiritual master. And to the degree our faith in the spiritual master is developing, to that degree our love and devotion and faith in Krishna is simultaneously developing. The spiritual master is the manifestation of the Ladini in Samvit Shakti. And he manifests in this world simply for the purpose of giving living entities who are genuinely searching for Krishna the opportunity to be engaged in Krishna's service. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. That after wandering for many, many births in this material world, if one is fortunate, one gets the association of a Vaishnav Guru. And if one receives the association of a Vaishnav Guru, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyetat dikshasti chet pranata bis chabhajantam isham shushushaya bhajana vignam ananyanamya nindati sunyamita ipsiti sangalapya. One should surrender to that Vaishnav Guru and render service to him. Srila Rupa Goswami, at the beginning of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he lists the 64 items of devotional service. And those 64 items of devotional service, they begin with the topic of Guru Pada Ashraya. First, you surrender to the Guru. So as I was quoting from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we cannot even begin the process of devotional service authentically until we have accepted a spiritual master within the core of our heart and are willing to bathe in the dust of his lotus feet. Naisammati stava urukranangam sparsyadanartho pagamoya artha mahiya sampada rajopi shekam nishkinshananam vinayita yavan. Until one is willing to bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee, Prahlad Maharaj says that no amount of mental speculation, no amount of material endeavor, or so-called spiritual practices can actually bring one to the point of being favorably disposed towards Krishna. And if one is unwilling to surrender to a guru, and simultaneously they want to practice Krishna consciousness, then they commit the offense of disobeying the instructions of the spiritual master. This is explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, life in Krishna consciousness without the instruction of a guru, without the guidance of a guru, and without the example of the guru, is simply an hallucination. So Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, when he's approaching Nrsingadev, the only desire which he's asking for is Yadi dasyasi me kamans varam stvam varadarshava kamanam hini samraham bhavantastu varevaram. The only desire which he has is to become freed from desires. But there's another desire which he expresses. Evam janani patitam prapavavi kumbe kamavi kama anuya prapratam prasanga krit atmasat sudasina bhagavan grahita soham kata nuversajay tava britya sevam. That how can I leave the service of Narada Muni, who has given me the opportunity to be engaged in service? I was drowning, I was falling deeper and deeper into a bottomless pit full of snakes. And Narada Muni has come and engaged me in your service. So when I am seeing you, I am simply remembering my spiritual master. This is why Srila Prabhupada, when he instituted the morning program, the first thing that we do in the morning is we offer prayers to the spiritual master. Vande Guru Shri Charanadavindam. One time I had a godbrother ask me, he was a bit disturbed actually. He said, why are we offering this prayer to the deities? I don't understand. Why are we offering this prayer to the deities? And then I told him, because in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, when one is seeing the Lord, they see the mercy of their spiritual master manifested in front of them. So when they're seeing Krishna, they're not thinking of their relationship with Krishna. They're thinking about their relationship with the spiritual master and how the spiritual master has engaged them in the service of Krishna. This relationship between the guru and the disciple is a heart-to-heart connection. It is not based on any type of mechanical mechanism of so-called worship or pomp and opulence. If one thinks that they can become dear to the spiritual master simply by offering material facilities and serving the body of the spiritual master without integrating the teachings of the spiritual master within to their life, then they are an illusion, is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. To think that you can win the favor of the spiritual master by providing material facilities is foolish. But it is the duty of a disciple while the spiritual master is present to receive the guru in a way which is heartfelt and genuine. And what we are seeing in the example of the Nava-Yogindras and Maharaj Nemi is an example of this heartfelt offering of love and devotion from Maharaj Nemi to the Nava-Yogindras. It is not based on any artificial display. It is a heartfelt offering. And this is the essence of Vaishnav culture. Tandira charana sevi bhakta sanivas janame hoy e avilas. That I desire over and over again to serve the feet of those Vaishnavas who are serving under the guidance of Srila Rupa Goswami. And tan sabara pararenu mora panchagras. The dust of their lotus feet is my 5 types of foodstuffs. What does it mean to accept the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master? As we were saying, it is not simply to offer an artificial show of worship. Rather, to take the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master is the essence of our entire life. So what does it mean? If we put so much emphasis on the worship of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, what does it mean to take the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master? Does it simply mean to collect some dust from his feet and rub it all over our body? No. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on the verse Naisam matistava kata Naisam matistava kata urukarlangam, he explains that Mahapada Raja Mahisampada Rajobhishekam, to bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master means to first bathe in his teachings and bathe in his Vaishnav qualities. So this is why in the prayers of Narottam Das Thakur, he's saying, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Majhiyaman, that make this meditation on the qualities of the Vaishnava Guru constant within your mind. Make this meditation on the Guru a constant meditation, because this spiritual master, he is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sakshat Darit Vena Samasta Sastir. This is being spoken here. And why is this significant to us? Because by understanding the mood of service of the spiritual master, one comes to understand the mood of service which is being offered by Srimati Radharani to Radha and to Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, in the highest conception of Guru Tattva, one sees the lotus feet of the spiritual master as different from the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, non-different. What does this mean practically? It means that the selfless endeavor to sacrifice and serve Krishna in any and all circumstances is manifested in the character of Sri Guru. So, to meditate on the qualities of the spiritual master, we understand the wholesale service which is offered to Krishna at every given moment in Goloka Vrindavan. So to meditate on his qualities is the perfection of meditating on Srila Rupa Goswami's 8th instruction to the Upadeshamrita. Upadeshamrita. Tannama Rupa Charitasu Sukirtananu Smedyor Kramena Rasanama Nasini Yoja Tistan Vrajetan Anuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayet Akila Mityupadesha Sada. But before this realization manifests within the heart, one should understand the position of the Guru in relationship to Lord Nityananda. One should understand that the spiritual master is the manifestation of the mercy of Lord Nityananda in the life of a disciple. So it said, Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktam Isham Ishvara Tarakam Tat Prakashas Tatak Shaktir Krishna Chaitanya Samjakam. That of the 5 items, or the 6 items who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, the Guru is one of the various energies who is representing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and is non-different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and none different from Lord Nityananda. Why is it important for us to develop this understanding? Because we see that within the society of Mayavadis, they may offer a similar standard of worship which the Vaishnavas are offering to their Guru. It could be the same Vyasa Puja, it could be the same offerings, but their relationship is use and throw. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to give this example of a story from his Upagyayani Upadesh. And he would explain that there was once a mother who had a son, and the mother was a widow, and she wanted to see that her son become educated properly. And so, when she brought a tutor to see him educated in mathematics, the tutor began by first beginning teaching him the alphabet, ABCs and 1, 2, 3. He began with teaching ABCs in 1, 2, 3 in simple education which a child would receive. So as the child was growing and growing and growing, eventually when the child reached 4th standard, he began to educate the child in algebra. And in algebra, you do A to the power of 2 times B to the power of 2 equals C. So when the mother was walking by hearing this instruction from the teacher, she said, "What is this? I've been paying you all these years, and now you're teaching my son the same ABCs that you were teaching him when he was 5 years old. We've wasted our money. You get out from here." So the teacher had no choice but to leave, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, this is the mentality of Mayavadis. At Mayavadis, they think that you hire a guru as a boatman to get you across the river. They see it as a fashionable idea. So the mother is unable to understand that which was applicable in the simple stages of Krishna, in the simple stages of education, those same principles have an application in advanced levels of education. That which was relevant to a child at the age of 5 has an application when he reaches the age of 10. So in the same way, the Mayavadis, they're unable to see the relevance between what was taught in a simple stage and what was taught in an exalted stage. So Mayavadi literally means that they see the Vaishnavas, the cosmic manifestation, and Krishna as being Maya. And so therefore they are in Maya, and they are called Mayavadi. So they consider everything to be Maya, and they even take the Guru as Maya. So they get a Guru for their own selfish purposes. They may offer worship to that Guru, but then eventually they discard that Guru in order to take shelter of their own mental speculations. Yenera vindaksha vimuktamanina swayasha baba avashuddha buddhaya arura krinchena parampadam tata pashantato nadrata yusma angriyaha. So this mentality of the Mayavadis is like the mother who kicks out the teacher. Whereas the Vaishnava's understanding of the Guru is that my spiritual master saved me, and there's no one like my spiritual master. And the relationship which I have with my spiritual master now will continue life after life. What is the verse from Guru Puja which we sing every day? Janme janme Prabhu se Chakshudan dilo ye janme janme Prabhu se. He who has given me the eyes, Chakshudan dilo ye, to see Krishna, he is my master birth after birth. Yeah. Janme janme Prabhu se. So those who have given us an opportunity to be engaged in Krishna's service, they are our most worshipful deities because they have given us our connection to Krishna. And that relationship should never be minimized. We should never think that that relationship can be replaced. And this example of the Navayogendras meeting with Maharaj Nemi has so much practical significance for us, because we need to ask ourselves, how much is our worship of the Guru coming from the heart? Or how much of it is an official display of respect? It's interesting that the BBT editors, they decided to include so much about Mayavad philosophy in this particular section. Because the primary thing which limits us in our relationship with the spiritual master is our contamination of Mayavad. To be existing in the material world means we are contaminated with Mayavad. Mayavad means that we think that we can be happy without Krishna. Conditional life means Krishna bole se jeev anahir bahir mukh ateva maya tare samsara dukh. So Mayavadis display an example of conscious foolishness. They're consciously foolish of how they want to forget Krishna. And they go through so many lengths and create so many philosophies in order to forget Krishna. So the foundation of Mayavad philosophy is a false interpretation of the direct statements from the scripture. There's two ways of understanding scripture, which is described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. There's a Mukhya Vritti, which is a direct understanding. And there's a Gauna Vritti, which is an indirect understanding. Mayavadis, in order to promote their philosophy of negating Krishna, propound a philosophy of Gauna Vritti. So as Srila Prabhupada said, when it says Sarvadharmam Parikyaja, Mam Ekam Saranam Vraja, they take it, that doesn't mean surrendering to Krishna. It means you have to surrender to something beyond Krishna. But if I say, come with me, it doesn't mean come with something beyond me. It means come with me. I'm personally referring to myself. So Mayavadis create a false imaginary interpretation which gives them a false foundation on the ground which they stand on. So our whole position in this material world is that we interpret this world not according to the conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam, not according to the conclusions of Bhagavad Gita, but we interpret this world according to the conclusions of our own mind. That is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that quality of transcendence is prajahati yata kaman sarvapartha manogata, that one is kicked away all mental concoctions of how to perceive and understand this world. Therefore, when we study the Srimad Bhagavatam and we hear the position of the spiritual master, we should introspect and see how much is this my realization. Navyo payanta pachitim gavayasta veshas brahmanu saptikritam riddham urasmarantas antarbahis tanubritam ashuddham vidhumvam acharya cheta bapusa swagatim binakti. Uddhavaji is praying at the end of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that at the end of the 11th canto, that Krishna, you are so merciful that you make yourself available, that your mercy is so unlimited that no amount of demigods or Brahma could possibly come to the limit of glorifying your mercy, because you make yourself available personally as the Acharya and personally as the Supersoul sitting within the heart, within every living entity, as the Acharya and as the Chaitya Guru. So when we're studying Srimad Bhagavatam, we should understand that we are not only developing devotion for our own personal spiritual master, but we are simultaneously evolving our consciousness to the degree that the teachings of Sri Guru is manifesting itself in every circumstances, in every interaction, and in every dealing which we have within this world. Yomam pasati sarvatra sarvam sha mai pasati tasyaham na pranasyami sacha me na pranasyati. One has to evolve their consciousness to the degree that every moment there is not a question of me forgetting my spiritual master. As long as we are infected with this Mayavad philosophy, which minimizes the position of the spiritual master, casts an illusion on the exalted nature of the spiritual master, as long as that contamination is there in our consciousness, we will not be able to perceive how the teachings of the spiritual master are flowing into our life at every moment of every second of every single day. Acharya Chaitya Vapusa Swagatim Vinakti. That Krishna has made himself available in the heart of every single living entity. So when one's devotion for the spiritual master is maturing, one is able to see how everyone in this world is an impetus and an inspiration for me to surrender fully to Krishna. So therefore, I deserve to offer them all respect. They deserve to be respected very deeply because they are instruments of Krishna's mercy in my life. So Srila Prabhupada, when he would be seeing his disciples, he would say, "You have all been sent by my Guru Maharaj. You are all representatives of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati." And when the devotees said, "Srila Prabhupada, how is this possible? With the habits and the lifestyle we were living before this, how is it possible that we are manifestations of your Guru's mercy?" Srila Prabhupada said, all of that is superficial. Because as soon as you heard Hare Krishna, you all came running. This is the vision of the Uttama Adhikari, and this is the vision which we should be moving towards. We should be moving in the direction that no matter who someone is, whoever they are, whatever circumstance that we're in, we see the mercy of our spiritual master manifesting in our life constantly. As long as that vision is not manifesting, it means we are contaminated by some Mayavad conception where we're not able to appreciate the position of the spiritual master, so therefore there's a blockage to that descent of grace into our life. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, when one has done the process of surrendering to the Guru properly, tadvidi paripatena praniprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanams jnaninas sattvadarshanaha. If one has actually done Guru Seva properly, the result is Yagyanva na purmanmoham eva shyasya pandava. Yena sheshani sheshan bhutani drakshasyat matmatomai. I completely spoiled that verse. But if you look at this verse, after Krishna speaks about the need for Guru Seva, Krishna says that if you render service, Yagyanva na purnam moham eva syasyasi pandava, yena bhutyani sheshani drakshasyat matmatomai. If you have actually done Guru Seva properly, then you will come to see how I am existing in all beings and all beings are existing with me. It means that Adi Guru will be manifested at every moment of every second of your life if you are doing Guru Seva properly. If we are not developing that vision, if we are thinking, Amar Guru, Jagat Guru, then we are in a very immature stage of devotional service. But maturity in devotional service means learning to take inspiration and learning to take enthusiasm from any and all circumstances, and seeing that as the mercy of the Guru. Don't think that Prahlad Maharaj, when he was being tortured by Hiranyakashipu, ever thought that he had been abandoned by Narada Muni. At every moment of every second, Prahlad Maharaj is seeing, this is the mercy which Narada Muni is giving me now. Don't think that when Srila Prabhupada was struggling alone in New York City, that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was not showering his mercy on him. When Srila Prabhupada aborted the Jaladuta all by himself, he was only meditating on the mercy of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. There is only a mood of gratitude. There is only a mood of devotion. There is only a feeling of genuine love and affection manifesting in his heart. So in any and all circumstances, the mercy of the spiritual master is available to us. But we have to make ourselves available to the mercy of the Guru. Hare Krishna. So we can open it up for discussion. It's 9 o'clock. Class still ends at 9 o'clock? Yes? Okay. So little discussion? Okay. So we can have some discussion. Any questions or any comments? Yes, Prabhu.
Devotee circle ko, how we can see this is the Guru instruction how something Guru helps us. Like you telling that if you have in the mood of Guru Seva, then every moment Guru help you. How we can understand how devotees, our spiritual master are helping?
Chitatmam prashantasya paramatma samamhita. Sito san sukadukesu tatamana pamanayo. That one has to make their mind peaceful by executing the instructions of the spiritual master which has been given to them. If you're neglecting the instructions of the spiritual master, don't expect to be able to see the mercy of the spiritual master manifesting in your life. But if you're executing the instructions of the spiritual master, then the Guru will always be there to guide and protect you in all circumstances. So we have to make our mind peaceful, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, and that's how one comes in direct contact. What's the English translation to this verse? Chitatman prashantasya paramatma samamhita. Sito san sukadukesu tatamana pamanayo. 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita. It's the beginning of the chapter. Jitatmam prashantasya. Oh, he's got a Bhagavad Gita on paper in there. Jita, 6th chapter, I think it's verse number Verse number 7.
6.7.
6.7. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So, the quality which one needs to develop in order to perceive the presence of the spiritual master everywhere is conquering the mind. And that's described by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Abhasyena takonteya vairagyena chagriyate. Krishna says, undoubtedly the mind is difficult. What's the full verse? Do you remember it, Nilamani Krishna? Asamsayam mahabaho manadurni karham shamam. Abhasena takonteya vairagyena chagriyate. Undoubtedly the mind is difficult to overcome. But it can be overcome by practice and detachment. And Srila Prabhupada specifically mentions hearing and chanting as the practice, and detachment being the following of the four regulative principles. So, the most important service which the spiritual master has given us is the chanting of Krishna's names. So, avoiding the 10 offenses and the chanting of the holy names is a way to render direct service to the spiritual master on a daily basis. Even if you have not received a personal instruction, if you follow this one instruction, which is implied when you take initiation to chant 16 rounds a day. It's not just chanting 16 rounds of Namaparad. Chanting 16 rounds means chanting 16 rounds with the desire and the intensity to chant the holy names purely. So to give your mind fully to the chanting of the holy names is direct Guru Seva. It is directly service to the spiritual master, because it is assisting the spiritual master in the service of his spiritual master of serving Krishna's holy names. When you are engaged in the chanting of the holy name, you are assisting your spiritual master in his assisting his spiritual master and assisting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to engage the entire world in loving and serving Krishna through the chanting of holy names. Chiradadam tam nijagupta vitam suprema namamrta apidadaha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given himself to the world through the chanting of the holy names. He has garlanded the world with a garland of prema which has been woven with the holy name. So our chanting of the holy name is a direct service to the spiritual master because it assists him in his service to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to see that the entire world is given an opportunity to chant. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to give us the highest thing. Krishna Prema Pradayate. He wants to bestow upon you the highest fellow of love for Krishna. Anarpita chirim chirat karuna avatirna kalo samar paitam unanta jwalarasam swabhakti shriyam unanta jwalarasam. He wants to give you the most refined, the highest kind of love which is available in all spiritual and material worlds. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to give you that. But the quality is Shravan Janahoy. You should be faithful. And to be faithful means to avoid 10 offenses to chanting the holy name. So avoiding the 10 offenses, direct service to the spiritual master, and by rendering that service of chanting the holy names attentively, your mind becomes conquered by that holy name. Apanam samstatim goram yanama vivishogranam tata sadyo vimuchetad yad babeti swayam bhayam. So by attentively chanting the holy names and simultaneously studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, which Srila Prabhupada says is the way to eradicate offenses, a scrutinizing study of the Srimad Bhagavatam awards one the ability to chant the holy names without offense. So scrutinizing study of the Srimad Bhagavatam along with attentive chanting of the holy name subdues the mind, and when the mind becomes subdued, one can directly see the supersoul in any and all circumstances. That's what Krishna is saying here. That one who has conquered his mind through the instructions of the spiritual master, they are in direct contact with the supersoul. And direct contact with the supersoul means direct contact with the spiritual master. Acharya Cheta Vapusasva Gatim Vinakti.
Thank you. Prabhuji, one thing. How to avoid 10 offenses? It is very difficult, Prabhuji.
It's not difficult. It's not difficult. It's just a matter of making the chanting of the holy name a priority. If the chanting of the holy name is a priority, then we will find a way to do it. It's just like raising a family is difficult. But if it's a priority, then you find a way to do it. Everything in this world is going to be difficult. To learn to play the piano is difficult. To go to university and get a degree is difficult. To raise a family is difficult. But kadatanan smater yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet. Vishmitir viparitam syat Sri Chaitanya namanamitam. For one who remembers Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and takes shelter and surrenders to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that which is difficult becomes easy. So therefore, we've been instructed to chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda, and take shelter of the holy names under the guidance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who will eradicate all offenses. So that which is difficult becomes easy by remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if we fail to remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that which is easy becomes extremely difficult. So we have to make chanting the holy names a priority in our life. If it is not a priority, then it will be extremely difficult to take shelter of the holy name. But if it's our number one priority, all of our activities are revolving around the ambition to chant the holy names purely, then it will become very easy, because Tesam Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Pratipurvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Enamam Upayantite. Krishna will guide us towards that. And Krishna is ready to guide us towards that. Madrik Prapanam Pashupasha Vimokshanaya Mugdaya Buddhi Kurunaya Namo Nalaya. It's not that Krishna only begins to help you once you start to pray for it. Gajendra is saying you are always attentive to our deliverance, even before we ask for it. And it's not that Krishna will come to help you later. Krishna is ready to help you right now, but do we desire it? That's the question. Do we actually desire to chant the holy names purely? Do we actually desire to surrender to Krishna fully? And if we don't desire that, what's holding us back? And why do we maintain such desires? Why do we maintain such petty excuses to not give ourselves fully to Krishna? To not give ourselves fully to the chanting of the holy name? We should be willing to part with those things, just like someone who's cleared their stomach is able to abandon it very easily. Anything which is obstructing our ability and our willingness to surrender fully to the chanting of the holy name should be rejected. And anything which is favorable to the chanting of the holy name should be accepted. If we have to fall sick, if we have to lose our wife, if we have to lose our home, if we have to lose our bank balance, if we have to become infamous, whatever it takes, if it means giving ourselves fully to the chanting of the holy name, we should be willing to accept it. We should accept it fully without hesitation. Yes, Prabhu.
Could you in between you had mentioned that that mentality that we have, that we can be happy without Krishna in this material world. This is also Mayavad. But Mayavadis, so they don't want to enjoy this material world. Rather they want to give up the enjoyment of this material world. So how to understand that this mentality that I want to enjoy this material world without Krishna? This is also Mayavad.
Krishna Bhakti Nishkam Atayeva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Atayeva Shanta. Enjoyment and renunciation are two sides of the same coin. And Vaishnavas are neither interested in being enjoyers or being renunciates. We're simply interested in being order carriers of the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, to want to abandon this world altogether, to negate material activity, or to enjoy it to the utmost extent, bhoga tyaga. It's just two sides of the same coin. It's the same type of material conditioning. Prem Harinam Prabhu, you have anything to say? I wait all year just to hear what Prem Harinam Prabhu has to say.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for very nicely bringing out the understanding and meaning of this wonderful shloka and the purport. Very essential aspect of our life and connected. How Guru's service is quoting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is Guru's lotus feet is Radharani's lotus feet. So oftentimes actually in service, particularly in today's world, there are so many ideas keeps coming around and mind being impure very quickly adapts all those things and not focused. He often loses this understanding that actually serving lotus feet of Guru is the goal of my life. And missing out that particular aspect, we keep wondering why I'm not progressing, how I'm not progressing in my spiritual life. What is that? Why the anarthas are so much struggling in my life? So you emphasize this so wonderfully, connecting it to also the chanting the holy name. It was very, very helpful, very nice to hear. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
कोई प्रश्न है? आप में से कुछ एक दो भक्त प्रश्न पूछिए.
Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu?
How can we engage our...
Wait for the microphone. Otherwise it doesn't count.
How can we increase our surrender to spiritual master and Krishna?
How can we what?
How we can increase our surrender?
How can we increase our surrender? Read Srila Prabhupada's books every single day for a minimum of 1 hour. And this will naturally create a desire to want to surrender. Because what we associate with, dayato vishayam pumsang, sanga tesu bhajayate. Sanga sangjayate kaman, kama krodha bhajayate. That which we associate with regularly, we develop a desire for. So Srila Prabhupada is only speaking about surrender. Specifically, if you read Bhagavad Gita and Sri Upanishad, Srila Prabhupada's voice in Sri Upanishad and in Bhagavad Gita are very intense. And it really creates a deep desire to want to become more sincere in our Krishna consciousness. So I would recommend, if you can do it, make a vow to read the entire Bhagavad Gita once every year. And you can throw in Sri Upanishad along with that as well. Read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita once every single year. A minimum, just one time to the Bhagavad Gita every year. If you can do 2, that's great, but just one time read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And this will bring us back to the basics of why we came to Krishna consciousness. We generally come to Krishna consciousness with a very good motive, but as time goes on, those motives change. So if we can bring ourselves back to the basics and remember why it was we came to Krishna consciousness, which is so clearly echoed in the words of Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita, then that will naturally increase our desire to want to surrender more and more to the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Guru. Is that okay? The other day someone asked me that when they wake up in the morning, they have many plans to want to, what did they say, Brian? Do work, find job, make progress, and be productive. But then they get on their mobile and then they find themselves sleeping all day. What to do about it? And I told him, well, maybe you should just make your bed in the morning when you wake up. And Brian told me, he was at the class, he said the person that was sitting next to him, he wrote on his phone in big letters, "Make your bed in the morning." So the reason why I'm quoting this is because many times simple instructions can have a profound impact on our life if we're willing to apply them. So just study the entire Bhagavad Gita 1 year and see what the effect is. Yes?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, जैसा कि आपने बताया है कि भगवद गीता को ध्यान से पढ़ने से हमें जप करने में मदद मिलता है। तो जैसे हम गीता में भागवत पढ़ते हैं, जैसे पढ़ते हैं भागवत गीता, तो बहुत सारे विचार आते रहते हैं, फोकस पढ़ नहीं पाते हैं, फिर कैसे हम उसको पढ़ सकते हैं फोकस के साथ?
He's asking you to read Gita once every year, but while he's reading, he finds that he's distracted. A lot of thoughts are coming. How to deal with that?
Just keep reading. Yeah.
Or will the distracted reading help to chant?
What's that?
Will the distracted reading help to chant?
Will the distracted reading help? Well, I would say read until you're not distracted. That's generally what I have to do. When I first sit down, I have so much momentum of services and problems which I'm trying to solve, problems which I'm unable to solve, problems which are going to come which I definitely won't be able to solve. And then when I sit down and then I read, all the managers are laughing right now. So when I sit down to read, I notice all the momentum of that kind of comes rushing in, and there's a tendency to want to kind of go deal with those things. But if I have a goal to just read for a certain period of time every single day, if I just put everything aside, put my phone on airplane mode, put it away, and I just sit down and I have a proper, comfortable place where I can read and I just focus, initially the momentum of all those things will be there, but as I go on reading, especially if I read out loud, gradually the residue of all those things begin to clear away. And then I actually begin to find solutions to those problems I was working so hard to find when I'm reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So I would just suggest, make it a habit to have a place, have a space which is clean and which is organized, where you can study the Prabhupada's books very attentively. And if you're having difficulty paying attention, try reading out loud. That okay, Prabhu? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpatarumbhischa kripa sindhurevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo.